Happy birthday. Hold on, I'm sorry. No, something doesn't feel right. What is wrong with this picture? Us alone, nobody else here to celebrate.
How can we fix this?
Maybe we should invite... Don't make me say it. Family?
Stop embarrassing me.
You want me to stop embarrassing you? Because you have food stains on the back of your lab coat.
It's because I turn it around when I eat ribs.
You bought pregnancy tests at the dollar store?
Yeah, I'm not going to spend a ton of money on something you're just going to pee on.
There are two things you never buy at the dollar store: pregnancy tests and crab.
I'm having a scoop of vanilla ice cream. Would you like some?
No.
Amelia Earhart inspired many other women with her bravery, until she crashed. In conclusion, never fly in a plane or you will die.
You see, you don't have to be scared, sweetheart. All planes glide nice and easy like those seagulls.
Chatting on my way up here, and
She's one of the cool kids who Snapchats.
Yeah, I took over Latina Magazine's Snapchat today, so I'm trying to be very diligent about getting every moment of my day.
Do you have are you snapping every? Is that the correct term? You're
snapping. I think that's
every
that's
5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I mean more than that. I'm snapping every 2 seconds. I woke up and then I got in the shower and look at my robe and look at my food and look at my my bathroom stuff. I don't know. It's whatever. I feel like people like to see what you do, your day. I think that's it's the behind the scenes, the real intimate stuff. So I think
as opposed to the sanitized perfect stuff.
Right. Except Instagram is so perfect because you post a picture and usually they're very beautiful, but Snapchat seems more real. So I'm excited to be doing that today. It's very fun. And it's raining, which I love because I'm from LA and there's weather here. So I'm very excited about having some weather.
Stop being all romantic about New York in the rain,
I love
even though
it.
you used to live here.
I know, I did, and I miss it. As soon as I landed, I was like, it's brisk. It feels like it's the fall. I mean, we don't get that in LA. So it's I'm very happy to be here.
So let's talk about season 2.
Okay. You guys watch the show? You guys all know the show, or somewhat? Yeah. Okay.
They watch the show.
Good. Great.
They have
you can.
They have not seen the first episode, which has not aired. I have, however, seen it on the press site. Okay. So let's talk about the wrestling scene.
Yes.
It is.
Woo. Well, so the wrestling scene in the show, Thomas Sadowski, who plays Matt, we move in together and. In the first episode, and I have a roommate already, Fortune Feimster, who's a very hilarious comedian, and she's kind of bigger than life, and basically I'm try to be nice. I'm I think you need to move out because we're engaged now, and I think that maybe it's time for you to find your own place, and she basically shuts the door in my face. We'll have none of it, and then challenges Matt to a wrestling match, and she's basically if you beat me, I'll move out. So we have a wrestling match. The first take of this wrestling match, this is the first week back. We're shooting, this is the second day. I'm wearing a wedge heel, similar to these. I kick Tommy in the eye so hard, straight in his eye that he gets a black eye. And he basically, it was the first take, because we hadn't really rehearsed it, because sometimes we like to throw moves in there. And they were why don't you just hop on Fortune's back? So I did, and I basically kicked him in the eye so hard that he had to sit a couple out and his stunt double had to come in and it got red and I was literally okay, so we just started back season 2 and Tommy's gonna be out for the whole season. I broke his cornea or what, I mean, can you do that? Can you break a cornea? I don't know, something like that. I was literally oh, he's gonna be blind. And so it was a rocky start to the beginning of the first episode, but it ended up being super funny. And I'm not going to tell you what happens, but I will tell you that Fortune still lives with us, and we're shooting episode 10, and she's still in our house.
I do need to ask you: are you wearing that wrestling singlet for Halloween?
I mean, I asked them. I think Tommy wants to wear it, so I don't know. I might have to wrestle him for it. It was the funniest day ever, and Fortune is in this huge yellow outfit. It's just so funny with a yellow scooter. Her whole character is very funny, but. It's dangerous. I'm gonna tell you, we get hurt sometimes on set. I punched Tommy a couple times, and I also accidentally hit him in the balls once. Am I allowed to say balls?
Yeah, you can curse, but
yeah,
wow.
I'm supposed to like, I was supposed to tap his leg, and I went too hard, and he's always like, he's like, Angelique, every time we shoot together, I need to wear like a full protective, like full gear, like a headset and everything. So
well, it does actually speak to the relationship you guys have on the show.
Yeah.
It's very passionate and
very
volatile and very,
yeah,
you know.
And Colleen's like especially the reason I loved this character was because she's just like this nice girl who is trying her best every day, and it doesn't often work. And she's kind of like a little bit of a loser, but in a nice way. Like she's a super sweetheart, but like she has the best intentions. She's totally optimistic. It doesn't always go her way, but then she's like, look at the bright side. And so she's constantly trying to like buck Tommy up. And that's how we are in real life. Because I'm definitely like more optimistic and bubbly than him. So we work very well together. And it adds, I think, it's very realistic because of the way we are off camera. It's bled into season 2 especially. They're writing for us much more in our voices. Everything, like a lot of the storylines this season are real. Like these are things that like we go into the writer's room before we start shooting, and they talk to you about like your hiatus. When you shoot a single cam comedy, you get like 5 months off. So we shoot from like August until March, and then we have the rest of the year off. So they wanted to know, like, what did you do on your hiatus? And I traveled, and I bought a lot of things for my new house, and I'm renovating my house, but I also use Groupon a lot, and I return stuff a lot. I'm like real frugal. So I have like this, I'm basically cheap. And so they wrote that into like our 3rd episode where Colleen basically makes Matt go and return a jacket that's like 5 years old. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Just do it. It's gonna be fine.
She's one of those people that's like, well, it's only been worn 31 times.
I mean, yeah, and I was telling a story about how Bed Bath & Beyond, I should not tell, you know what, I should probably not be talking about this, but I'm going to. Bed Bath & Beyond has a really good return policy.
Oh yeah, they take everything
I'm sure you guys know this. And like, if you've ever bought anything at Bed Bath & Beyond ever, they can look up the SKU and they take it back, and then they give you like less 20%. So you're basically like, you can get a new, anyway, I find that shocking and amazing. And so I only do it if it's like, necessary, or if there's something
like, for example, when my Roomba broke,
right, like my Keurig broke, so and like big ticket items, you know,
you get like the shopping high without like actual shopping.
Yeah, it's super weird. But like, I don't think men like to return things, because my husband hates to return things, so it's always me that's going and returning things.
And then you have to be like, hi.
Yeah, I'm always like, I don't apologize for it. I'm like, hi, this is broken. I want a new one. I'm just like very like to the point.
Does this come
and then I feel like they're always taking it back. Like, oh, okay, ma'am. I'm like, don't call me ma'am, miss, and thank you.
This comes from your time in New York, I assume, right?
Yes.
With like the badassery.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have a backbone, and New York, I'm obsessed with New York. I lived here out of college. I actually moved here like 2 days before September 11th.
Ooh.
Which was crazy, because then my family was like, come home, and I was like, no, I have to stay. Like, I felt like this responsibility to the city, even though I was just moved here. But I lived here for about 7 years, and I loved it so much. 8 years, and I loved it so much, and it made me very strong. I was auditioning and doing some commercials and some print modeling, but when I first moved here, I was teaching Montessori preschool on the Upper East Side, and then a couple of the families offered me basically to pay me more to be a nanny, so I quit teaching and I started nannying, and then I nannied for a bunch of different families, and I catered, and I I was like Dora the Explorer for like kids' parties. You know, I've done it all. And then I moved to LA and started, at the time there wasn't as much TV. I don't know, I think there's more TV here now, because I was a musical theater major, so I moved here originally to like do Broadway. I thought, you know, I was gonna be hoofing it on Broadway. So a bunch of us I went to Indiana University, and a bunch of us moved here together. And then that didn't happen, so I moved to LA, and it happened in LA for me. I started working a lot more it's pretty good once I moved to LA.
I mean, you did Friends with Benefits. What was Timberlake like?
That was one of my first jobs.
Yeah, I know.
It was crazy. It was I remember it being so surreal, because obviously I'd watched Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis for years, and I was like, this is crazy. And they were so nice. And Woody Harrelson, I ended up shooting for like 2 weeks on that job. And I remember Woody was super nice with all the cast, even like if you had a small part, and I played like the assistant, so I didn't have like a huge part, but I had lines and like I was around. And I'm super personable, and I'm very talkative, which I think for any like actors out there who are like trying to come up in this business, I just think it's always important to be nice to everyone because you never know who those people are gonna be. A lot of like the PAs or whatever end up being DPs or casting. You never know, right? So you just wanna be super nice to everyone. And also super normal. Like just be yourself and engage and don't be a weirdo. So that's how I was on the set, and I became like friends with Woody and Justin, and Mila had just gotten done with that Black Swan movie, so she was super skinny. And I remember like talking to her about that, like, how did you do that? Because I can never be like, I wish I could be skinny and anorexic, but I'm never like, I just don't have the body type, so I'm always like, what's it like to be hungry?
I read an interview with her where she was like,
she's
like, I had to chain smoke and not eat.
Yeah,
it sucked.
she literally was like, I chain smoked. I was like, oh, that's what I'm gonna do. But anyway, Woody had this amazing trailer. Like we all get trailers, but he had like this, what is it, Winnebago? It's like a Winnebago. It was all bamboo, and there's like a lot of weed, and he like didn't wear shoes. And I just remember being like, this, I've made it. Like to me, I was like, I have hung out in Woody Harrelson's weird Winnebago. I've made it, folks. So that was like a turning point. I felt like in my career, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then you kind of realize that everyone's the same. And like at every different level of this business, you're just always kind of like looking for your next job and like looking to see where I go from here. Like I remember thinking, oh, if I can just book a pilot or if I can just book a movie, I'm in. And it's like kind of not like that. You're just like, it's just a stepping stone. So just like work super hard and keep your eye on the prize.
Well, so how did you book Life in Pieces?
Well, oh my God, I love the new art. It's so cute. I love these people so much. When I look at this, I just get so happy because you would not believe how nice and normal and perfect everyone is. Not perfect, but amazing. And like, we all have our things, but it's like such a great group of people. I can't wait to go back to work. We're on hiatus this week. Anyway, I booked this job because I had been on a show called Enlisted. Anyone heard about that show? It was a very short-lived show on Fox. It was where I played an Army sergeant, Sergeant Jill Perez. It was super fun, but very different than this. It was like a boys' club, and I like wore ACUs for an entire year, and they shaved my neck, and I like wore no makeup. So I came off, that was a Fox show, as I said, and our studio was Fox, so they were very familiar with me. And most of these cast members were offered the roles, so when you get to be a certain point, you're like offered roles. At this point, I was not, 2 years ago, I would not have been offered it, so I tested. So they already knew me, the casting, and Jason Weiner, who's our executive producer, and he directs like every third episode. He did Modern Family and a bunch of other shows. He was like familiar with me, but I'd never met him. So I had basically what you call a producer session with Jason and our casting, and I read, and then they started my test deal, and then I tested against one other girl, and I got it that day, basically, which is
That's
rare.
awesome.
I mean, it was, yeah, I mean, at that point, I knew, like, Fox loved me, and I kind of felt like I was, like, the favored one. You kind of get an idea, but you don't always know, because at that level, with the network, they can pull the plug on it at any time. And also, you know, it could have been offered out to, like, a much bigger name. But I think this part was like so me, and I brought my own special sauce to it, and I had so much fun. And I remember in my test, it's like this, like you walk in, they're not always like this anymore, but they're like a live test where you're like basically on stage doing like a play in front of like 80 to 100 people.
They're just sitting in the audience staring at you blankly?
But like this. Or like on their phones. And it's a comedy.
That's not
so like, are they gonna laugh? Like, you know, it's
so
very
is that
nerve-wracking.
the goal? Like that you're supposed to make them laugh?
Yeah. Like, and I had notoriously heard that CBS was not a warm room, right? Like ABC, I've tested for, they were great. Fox was amazing. I had like the best tests there, and I had tested a lot at this point, but I'd never tested for CBS. And it's the hardest network. It's the biggest network. It's like the most fancy. So I was like, oh my God, I want this job so bad. Like I wanted this job so bad. And when I went in and I looked out, and they were not, like, they're not engaging with you. They're just kind of sitting there. And I got them to laugh, you guys. I cracked them. I broke them. And there was some laughter. And then I tripped on the way out, because that's kind of what I do. I mean, I tripped almost coming up here. Like I'm very kind of klutzy, and I always like food in my teeth, and I'm kind of like a hot mess. So I tripped, and I was like, ooh, maybe that's like even better, because that's kind of like a Colleen move. Like I was like, ooh, Colleen would do that. So And then I booked the part. And I remember it was Aaron Kaplan is one of our EPs. He does like a bunch of shows on television. If you're in this industry, you should know who Aaron Kaplan is. He runs Capital Entertainment, and he's basically like a TV god. He's like Greg Berlanti or something. He has so many shows on television. And he was like, "You're gonna work for me." I was like, "Okay, great,
sure."
I was so excited. And I had tested for him before, so it was a very good group of people. And sometimes shows come together and there's kismet, where it's easy. The network is behind you. They put us behind Big Bang Theory for season 1, so that's a huge honor when you are on when you're a new show and they put you behind a big show. Like, look at, if you're any TV nerds out there, like watch whenever new shows are coming on the air and see what their lead-in is. That usually tells you if the network is excited about the show. So we were behind Big Bang, and we had an amazing year, and we kept our numbers, and it was the #1 new comedy. And we're really excited for tonight. It's tonight at 9:30, and we premiere after Mom. So we're not a new show. So now we like got kicked out of that spot, but we're gonna be after Mom, which I love, and I love Anna Faris. I think it's like just such a great show.
It just shows that the network has confidence in you, because if they didn't, they would dump you on Friday nights at 9 o'clock.
Right, which happened to my first show, Enlisted, where we premiered at 9:30 on Friday nights, literally behind like a Chopped or something. Like it was some show that like no one watched, and I remember I was just excited to be on the show that got picked up to series, and I remember Jeff Stoltz, our #1, being like F this, man. They're like, I can't swear, right? Oh, he was like, fuck this noise. He's like, this is fuck. They don't like our show. They're like setting us up for failure. And I was like, are you sure? Friday night's so fun. Like TGIF, like I think people, and he's like, that's not a thing. Like he was so mad. And then, you know, shortly thereafter, we only got 13. We didn't get the back 9. And so seeing the difference between a show that's supported and rewarded from the network versus a show that's kind of dumped is real. It's real eye-opening, and it makes you feel better when you go to work every day and you're like, oh, they want us to be here, and we feel very taken care of, and it's an amazing cast. And I think it's Diane and Jim, who are like the patriarch and matriarch of the show. They really set the tone for the way we are on set. They're like living legends, essentially, and it's such an honor to be working with them, and they bring such joy and ease and preparedness. They're so prepared. They're so on point with everything that sets it up for us. Like when you have a 1 and 2 on the call sheet that are like nightmares and they're late and they don't know their lines and they treat you like crap, like that doesn't make you want to do good work. But they come in and like basically support us. And we have a bunch of very serious actors who are we're very serious about our craft. All of us like are thespians. We all have done a lot of theater.
Like Zoe Lister-Jones is incredible.
Yeah, Zoe Lister-Jones is incredible. Yeah, I mean, and most of us can do drama, and I mean, all of us can do drama and comedy, which I also think is huge. Like, I think that comedy is actually harder because of the pace, and it's like there's a rhythm to comedy that is exhausting. By the end of the day, you're like depleted almost. But I think that you have to be able to do both. And our show, which makes it so special, I think, is that there's gravitas in every episode. There's a sweetness to it where we try to bring it down and we try to ground it in every episode to like speak to our audience. So it's not just like waka waka, look at us, you know?
And before we go to the audience, I have a very, very important and thought-provoking question for you.
Okay.
So I want you to take a sip of water and prepare. Have you taken care of Diane's parakeets?
How did you know about her parakeets?
Oh, Betsy told me a whole bunch of stuff yesterday.
Okay, Betsy. No, I never took care of her parakeets, but I did help her buckle them in to her car because
you have to buckle them in?
Yeah, because so Diane Wiest is amazing. And she's a New Yorker, okay? So this is like a huge deal that she's in LA. And so she has a car now that she drives sometimes, like not well, not great. She doesn't love it. She doesn't love to drive. And basically, she's decided this season to bring her parakeets to set every day. And instead of, sometimes she would, I guess, leave them last year. I'm unclear where the change happened. I just know that she puts a parakeet cage, it's like this big, in her front passenger seat and straps them in and drives with
That's amazing.
Strapped in. I think I have a picture somewhere. I need to find this picture, or I'll just stalk her next week and get one. But she was like, oh dear, will you help me buckle them in? And I was literally like, sure, of course I will. But then I also was like, why don't you just put them on the floor in the back, or like in the trunk, but you're not going to ask her and be like, Diane, why are you doing that? You're not going to, just let her be.
Honestly, that's probably not proper parakeet etiquette.
100%. Like that. So she's got to do her, she, Dee-Weezy, we call her, she's very specific and has a lot of little quirks, which are amazing. But there, you guys, her trailer is like, she decorated it. It looks like a Thai restaurant. There's like tons of greenery and like bamboo, and it's so that the birds can fly around in there. And they sit on her glasses when she's learning lines.
No.
Like right perched on there. Yeah.
God,
that's the show. I'm like, why don't we have the parakeets on the show? Like they should be with Joan, don't you think? That'd be so funny. It's like so specific.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like when, the episode last season when Jim decided to de-age himself and dye his hair. She should have gotten the parakeets then. That would have been good. Now to our audience, please.
Oh, excuse me, I just burped.
Hello, Angelique.
Hello. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Are you a student? What's your deal?
No.
Oh,
no. I work in marketing consulting, but I love to come here and ask you guys questions.
Oh, cool.
So I'm curious, since this is a comedy show, have you ever had any improv moments, any fun improv moments that directors kept in the show, or you have to keep to the script?
Oh, no. So our show is really great in that. Like, we're very collaborative and supportive on set. And basically what happens is we rehearse the scene, and we kind of bump it out. Like, you're kind of figuring the scene out. And then as you're shooting, we always do at least several takes of it as written, so that the network has that, and that's like kind of the standard or whatever. And then towards the end of each setup, they'll let us play, and they'll give us time to like either add a little of our own like handles or buttons, or they will come in with alts. So the writers and the showrunner, Justin, and whoever's with him will have like his script, but then also pages and pages of alts for each joke. And then depending on how it's kind of landing, they'll pitch the alts for each character and do like a run of alts. So there's definitely some improv. I will say that we've all done improv. We've all like UCB groundlings, most of us. Dan, the bald guy, Dan Backadall, Betsy's husband, is like a genius improver. From like Second City. So like we do not need to be encouraged to improv. Like we want to, we love it. And sometimes they have to like tamper us a little bit, because we will just go and go and go and like talk on top of each other. And when you get too excited and you do too much of that, when you're overlapping, it's super hard to edit. And then there's like not a clean break. And then also our show's only 22 minutes, right? Because we have so much advertising, there's so many commercials. And each story is short, and that's it. That's why it's Life in Pieces. It's 4 short stories. So we don't have a lot of time, and we could improv for hours. So they're like, stop, cut it out. We got to go to the next scene. Like, we got to tell the story. So they'll let us have some fun, and then sometimes they're like, no, come on, that's enough, that's enough.
Like, pull it back.
Exactly. But we do, I would say, like, there's definitely things that stay in the show, like, for sure. Like, when we watch it back, we'll be like, oh, that was a funny moment, and they'll keep it. Not always, but sometimes. I'd say it's like 50-50.
So you're pretty much creating the scene as opposed to following it.
I mean, I would say, in some sense. I would say that we're creating it in that, like, we know our characters and we know how we speak, and sometimes we like make the words feel right out of our mouths, but it's definitely written. Like, it's definitely written. And then I would say the endings are where we have the most fun. What we call the buttons, like our way out of the scene. We'll have the most fun there with improv.
Cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Hello.
Hi.
I was wondering how it was guest starring for another sitcom, Fresh Off the Boat.
Say that again, for what?
Fresh Off the Boat.
Oh, Fresh Off the Boat. Oh my God, it was so fun. That was last year around Christmas time. And it was crazy because they shoot on our same lot. So I was shooting that day, and I would like get carted over to Fresh Off the Boat and like have to quickly change and then like go back to work. And Fresh Off the Boat takes place in like the late 80s, early 90s. So they teased my hair. I should find a picture of that too. So big. And my outfit was hilarious. I played a pool shark. And Randall Park is a dream. Constance Wu is amazing. I had such a hard time keeping a straight face with Randall, and he's like a genius. Like, he's talk about prepared. I mean, and they have so many words. like our jokes in our show, like we don't talk as much. Like we have like one-liners more than like these like kind of ranting paragraphs. I feel like they talk so much. I don't know how they do it. It was fantastic. I had so much fun on that show, and the kids were amazing. Chelsea Crisp plays like the blonde on that show, the neighbor. A lovely group of people, and I always feel like no one ever knows who I am. I'm always like, hi, I'm Angelique, and Randall's like, I know, I loved Enlisted. Like I was just like floored that he even knew who I was because I'm such a huge fan of his, and that made me feel like really good because like I just never think that. I don't know. It's like nice to be recognized by fellow actors that you admire, for sure.
And last question here to the right.
Hi.
First of all, I love your dress. It's so cute.
Oh, thanks. This is Forever 21. It looks like Gucci, but it is not. It's Forever 21. Because you know me, I'm real frugal. Isn't that
I'll
so
have
cute?
to pick one up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That is totally. I totally thought that was Gucci.
No, I know they did a whole line like ripping off the Gucci, and someone else is doing the lipsticks this season. I forget if it's Comme des Garçons or something, but I was like, that looks so dope. And for New York, I wanted my arms to be covered because I knew it would be chilly.
What I was wondering is, obviously you're a very funny person. Is there kind of a dream comedy icon that you'd like to work with, act with?
I'm working with her. Her name is Diane Wiest. My dreams have come true. Goodbye. That's it. Peace out. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, Diane is one of my all-time favorite actresses. Oh, you know who? Okay, I do have someone else. I would say, okay, maybe two, but my number one that I would love, that I have not met or worked with, that, and if you're listening, Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
She's amazing. Oh my God, amazing.
She's like obviously, I mean, who would not want her career? Okay, she's like who I want. I would love to have her career.
And like, she's a great human.
She's a great human, and I always look at her. I mean, she worked for years, but Seinfeld was her first huge television thing, and I think she booked that when she was 30. So I remember she was either 28 or 30, and maybe Google fact checked me on that, but I'm pretty sure she was like later in her life, and I remember being like very inspired by that when I was here working, and people have this weird stigma about age, and I remember being like, no, but Julia Louis, she didn't hit until she was like in her 30s, so then I'm literally like, I can do that, and then I hit my 30s. Your 30s are the best, because your 30s, you know who you are, so you know how to approach a role, you know what to bring to it, you don't care, you don't give a fuck about what people think, and I've heard that your 40s are even better, so I'm real excited about that. But in your 20s, you're like figuring it out, like you don't know, like you're out of college, like you just want to hang out a little bit, and like I think that's the time where you should like spread your oats and like do, not literally, people, don't really spread your oats. But like, you know, live your life. Do you travel, do a million jobs, have a bunch of life experiences so that in your 30s and 40s you can like hone it into what you want to be. But I look at Julia Reed and she's done everything. She can do comedy, drama. She's a great person. She's an amazing mother. I mean, I don't know that, but I think she is. I built her up to be this like goddess. And I watch Veep every episode like 4 times. So, which is another reason when I met Dan, I was like, you're so good. I was like, is it weird that I like had a crush on you, Dan? He's just so funny, and he's on Veep. So Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and then my other, I would say maybe at some point Sandra Bullock, because I kind of always wanted to be the Latin Sandra Bullock. So that's on my vision board.
I love it.
They both are. Yeah.
And when can we watch the show?
We premiere tonight, Thursday. We're Thursdays at 9:30 on CBS, and tonight is our premiere. So
After
tune in
Mom.
for After Mom. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.